spikes? They're just over there. So, if you guys want to put those spikes in, I'll hold it up. I'll take that like that.
I'm going to set this to full auto, mate. So
once it's here. Right, put that back on the floor.
Running fans, happy Sunday. We are here at the Old Town Cycle Circuit in Bath for today's 2025 Bristol Track Club 5k and 3k. Welcome everyone that are just making their way to this beautiful sunny location in the southwest of the country. We are going to kick things off in just a few minutes time with our first race of the day, the wheelchair 5k. That'll start in 4 minutes time, but we have plenty of action to look forward to this afternoon. We have junior 3k races, we have our senior 5k races, but before any of that we're going to kick things off with our wheelchair wave. Now, this is your first time through this event, thank you for joining us. If you're coming back, maybe it's your second or third year, thank you for coming back. It's a hotly anticipated event for running and wheelchair calendar. Super flat, super fast course.
Yes, but we had to move it because
Sorry guys. It's just otherwise everything.
This first race, this wheelchair race, we have 4 competitors, and we want to encourage all of our spectators that are sitting in this beautiful sunshine onto the barriers. We want to create an atmosphere for these athletes that they're never going to forget, and hopefully they'll come back next year. Big shout out to our sponsors today, our title sponsors.
grab the mat and pit stop. Right, it'll be fine there.
There aren't waving like an in-low. You can capture some of the products. We also have Brother Red Running, leading retailer in the UK, supporting this event. And of course we have Timetable as well.
Bristol Track Club 5k. We're here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit in Bath, perched up on the top of a hill overlooking the town centre as well. Beautiful conditions we have in store this afternoon, and well, the first race of the day is going to be this wheelchair wave 5k for them, and that's off in just a couple minutes time. 4 entrants, great to see 3 from Paul, a dominant club in the southwest. I must admit, Ian Bennett, Natasha Davies and Alex Bradshaw, and Owen Terrell. The man, can he get amongst it and upset the Paul AC athletes? Yeah, he's a youngster based down at Newport Harriers. So that's what we got to look forward to in just a moment. The rest of the afternoon, we got the under 13 boys and girls in the they'll compete over 3,000 metres, and then the under 15s, and then we get into those 5k waves, and it is perfect conditions. And the good news for a lot of the athletes who are going to be rocking up to the Odd Down Cycle Circuit over the next couple of hours is the wind is dropping, and it continues to drop according to the BBC weather forecast over the next 2 to 3, 4 hours even. That final race of the day taking place at 6 p.m. So you can see there, beautiful forecast, we can't complain, 15 degrees, and do you know what, 3 years on the bounce we have had stunning sunshine here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit, and I've been here the last couple of years, and no rain, so I hope I haven't just jinxed it, but here we are then. The 4 athletes, apologies, on the start line, getting ready to go. Taking some starters orders from Josh Moody here, one on the organising committee. And a fantastic job, and it's an event which continues to grow year on year on year, and this is the first time it will include the addition of this wheelchair wave. So Natasha Davies, the sole female in this one. And eyes on Owen Terrell, Alex Bradshaw as well, preparing for the mini marathon in what, just 2 weeks or so time. Fantastic opportunity for him to take to the streets of London. His third year doing that one. And the veteran Ian Bennett, he's a great sparring partner, a training partner for both Natasha and Alex. Catching up with them guys before the race this afternoon, they were excited, and for Natasha this is her first race on a road surface, often competing around the track and training around the track, of course.
And that live stream is also being streamed on the ProDirect YouTube channel, so for anyone that you know at home that can't make it, please do let us know that the live stream is available.
So just a few seconds away, we hope within a minute of this one getting underway. They'll have 3 laps and basically 3.5 laps of this circuit, to be honest with you, and it will be a downhill finish. It's a net downhill race, this one here. It's within the legal limits though, and well, a little bit more on some of the officials they've had to recruit. The rumours going around, Ines Fitzgerald is going to be in town. She is going to be attacking 1, a lifetime best, 2, a course record, and 3, well, perhaps a British record, perhaps even a European record, the under-20 athlete. And I've been told it is her birthday today as well. So, Ines, if you're tuning in, getting a feel for the conditions, happy birthday. So 5 races, 6 races shall I say, throughout the afternoon. We start things with this wheelchair race, and then we will move on to the under-13 girls and boys, the under-15 girls and boys, and then those under-17 and senior races to come. 3 waves. First wave an open, the second wave elite women mixed in with some of the sub-elite men, and then after that we are into that elite men's race. Olympian Phil Norman is going to be in town for that. He headlines it, as well as a bit of the unknown quantity. Abdi Elmi, certainly one to look out for. And I believe they're having just ironing a few difficulties out with the finish line, just making sure everything is moving smoothly down there, and timing mats as well. We can check in with all of that throughout the race. I should be able to get some live updates on those splits and who is where in this one. And well, it's a good time to celebrate the organising committee here. You know, Callum Jones and Ben Westhemery do a phenomenal job year in, year out. And Ben Westhemery, associated with Bristol University, he's a coach down there. Callum Jones obviously associated with On as well, who are headline sponsor of this one alongside ProDirect Running, who also very grateful for them to be involved in the Bristol Track Club 5K. And Tensing as well, the energy drink brand, are also in town. And one of the sponsors for this one, providing energy throughout the afternoon. I think I'll be needing one of those a little bit later on. So here we are. We look like we're about to get underway. The nerves have been building for these 4 contestants on the start line. For this long, we're just coming into 5 minutes later than their official start time of 2:30. So having to contend, it's a good thing to train and prepare for when the start time doesn't quite go to plan, adjusting your warm-up routine and just being able to stay relaxed and in the moment on this one. So are we any closer to getting going? For a bit of context, it's a bit of a C-shaped track, so they're sort of down at the bottom of the C. That's where they'll start, up in that top corner. They'll take a right and head down a slight downhill gradient. Off they go then. The 4 contestants: Natasha Davies, Owen Terrell, Alex Bradshaw, and Ian Bennett. And Owen Terrell, well, speaking to him beforehand as well, him and his brother and dad are down here supporting, and definitely one of the athletes whose eyes are firmly set on LA 2028, and asking him, what's the goal today? He said just a hard run out, just a hard race out, to be honest with you. And I think that might be Bradshaw tucking in behind him already. So, and possibly Bennett and Natasha Davies in behind. Those two, as I mentioned, train together and always have a good little duel themselves. I tell you, Paul AC have a phenomenal club, very, very inclusive, athletes of all abilities and disabilities. There we are. Owen Terrell is just taking that bend, takes it well, and he's off again. The man who's on the Welsh Athletics pathway. Oh, and just off camera there, Bradshaw. Hope he's okay. Just negotiating that turn, but all eyes on Terrell at the moment, speeding along. And Davies and Bennett also in the race as they just come down this first downhill stretch, taking that first right-hand turn. They are quite sharp turns. You've got to be able to go negotiate them. I mentioned Bradshaw is looking forward to the mini marathon in a couple of weeks' time, but this gives great context. Those flags, by the way, you can see the finish line sort of 200 or so meters after the race, and yeah, those flags. You can see that long stretch. They'll have the wind on their backs on that section, which is great. And well, here we go. Owen Terrell, Newport Harrier. He's off on a warm weather camp shortly. He's got it all to himself. I mean, you don't want to be presumptuous, do you? Especially not as a commentator, but it looks like he has wrapped up this one, and these are just great shots. You can see the weather is absolutely glorious as he's around about 2/3 of the way through this first lap. This is the 1 kilometer mark. You just see one of the on staff members on the organising committee going to shout him through that first K. 2:25. He's absolutely flying. This is the slide uphill he'll have to contend with now, though, and all on his own. He have the wind on his back, quite conducive for the athletes. As they go uphill, they'll have the wind on their back, and as they come downhill, they will have a slight headwind, but it's kind of cancels each other out, so they welcome that. And yeah, a little bit further back, Natasha Davies and Ian Bennett, the pair of them, just operating together at the moment, sharing the lead. I know Bennett, 61, is looking to break 90 minutes for the half marathon this year at least, and he's doing a great job. He's at 1 hour 31 already. That's his lifetime best. And well, Natasha Davies, this is new territory for her, as Ian Bennett leads her around this course today. Training partners, as she does a lot of training and racing on the track. And I tell you what, the interesting thing about Owen Terrell here out front is, well, you know, when asked what is his favourite distance, it's the 100. It's the sprints. He loves going fast. And, well, he's operating over 5K today, albeit it'll be a touch over 10 minutes. We're expecting a finish time of 12-13 minutes. But he absolutely flew at the start, so slowing up a little bit. There we are, lap 1 complete. It's just over, it was about 1.5k a lap, so just inside 4 minutes there. And there we go, Bennett and Davies just down past me for the first time. She gets eyes on, and here goes Bennett, just starting to lead the way now, actually, as he just battle up that hill, and he puts into context this slight climb. It is a fast course. It's 8-9 meters wide. Plenty of room for athletes to maneuver, especially when we talk about those races coming a little bit later on. But there are, you know, a few little challenges in there which will just, you know, break the rhythm a little bit, spike the heart rate. But once you get off the top of that hill, for a kilometer or so, you will weave your way down.
Our second and third place athletes in this race. We can see our leading female athlete coming past as well.
So, Davies and Bennett doing a good job. The training partners together. Owen Terrell is going to come around me for the second time as he weaves himself round this turn. He's going to go past the finish line, Gantry, in a minute, and that will see him at 2 laps to go, and he's got the race wrapped up at this stage. He really has. It's him against the clock. How far can he push himself? I know Dad and brother will be awfully excited. His brother operating the Instagram account and jokingly called himself, his PR. And Dad, I'm sure, does a fantastic job and a bit of an unsung hero, no doubt, taking Owen to and from training, races, and that's one of the things that even throughout the whole afternoon we should probably take our hats off to all the parents in the facility for the work they do, making sure their kids can fulfill their dreams. So Bennett, talking of fulfilling dreams, is doing a great job at just leading Davies round this track. The pair of them working together, they are competitive. I think Davies accustomed to the slightly shorter distances. They are going to complete lap 1. They come under just making that turn on the top of the track. So here's him round that bottom turn. Owen Terrell, Newport, Harrier, moving exceptionally well. Just going from strength to strength. I think confidence is growing, as you can see, and I'm sure he's getting a bit of feedback from his dad and his brother out on the course as well. Richie Powell, by the way, his coach, ex-Olympian, ex-Paralympian, I should add. He's clearly doing a fantastic job developing this youngster. Where we'll see him next, unfortunately. So if you're wondering why we can't see Alex Bradshaw, unfortunately just took a little bit of a crash, negotiated one of the turns, and unfortunately just a technical problem with his chair means that sidelined him. He wasn't able to complete the race, so I hope he can get that fixed. Hope all okay, as his training partners Bennett and Davies continue to loop round this circuit. Fantastic shots, they really are. Gives great context to purely just how fast, uninterrupted rhythm this course can offer. So there he is going up that hill. You can see how much it slows them, and I think even more so when you look at your effort, you try and keep an even effort when you approach, when you have to contest with the hill. You know, can you match the same effort up the hill as you're able to do on the down? You don't want to coast on the downhills. You don't want to give yourself a breathing room. There's time to be made, especially in the chair. So Terrell, I mean, we can see Bennett and Davies, they've just negotiated the bottom of the hill now, taking that right-hand turn. But for the likes of Terrell, he's going to really want to put it down on this downhill. That's where he's going to gain a little bit of time as well. And there we are. So the likes of Callum Jones, Ben Westbury, Josh Moody and Alex Crossland all now able to put their feet up. The organisers of this event, year in, year out, continue to grow, continue to attract more sponsors and of course more athletes, those high profile elites. And this is the very first year, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen a wheelchair race, and long may it continue, I'm sure. Paul AC representing. So often the likes of Bennett and Davies and Bradshaw would train on a Sunday morning and sometimes a Wednesday evening as well. And well, here this race certainly replaces training, and they welcome the competition with open arms. So this is the purpose-built closed road cycling circuit. I mentioned a lap is just around about 1.5 km, and constructed in 2012. Opened in 2013 off the back of that Olympic legacy. Well, there's the winner then. He will be coming up to the bell lap. One thing the Bristol Track Club 5Ks is famous for is those cowbells, those on cowbells we saw at Highgate United 10Ks over the last few years. Well, they've made it to, well, I should say Bath at the Bristol Track Club, because we are very much just a mile or so up the hill from the town centre. So he's going to go through this lap. He is lapping, what, just inside 3 minutes, or certainly was earlier on in the race. So we are going to see, perhaps we'll see a time inside 13 minutes, 13 and a half minutes we can expect for Owen Terrell. He's starting to eat into Natasha Davies and Ian Bennett out there on the course, and I wonder now they're going to become his competition. He's going to want to sort of gun them down, see if he can lap with them as he speeds along. Well, and the red helmet there, that's eyes on Bennett. For a period, he was competing alongside Davies, but I think strength is just starting to prevail, to be honest. Speaking to him before, he loves the half marathon. That's his challenge, that's his goal, to break 90 in that. He's a minute or so outside, and I'm sure many of us can relate to a 90-minute half marathon and how difficult it is, but you know, to find a minute even at that level, it can be quite the challenge. But he's confident, he's in good shape at the moment. So then the youngster from Newport Harriers, he will be impressing his coach, his brother, and of course his dad, both of those here today. And Richie Powell, that ex-Paralympian, who is guiding that young man to success. And this is a great shot. Bennett, Davies and Terrell, you see all three of them just for the first time all in one shot together since that opening lap, really, because it was a breakneck speed Owen Terrell went off at. And just here you are, give a bit of context to the course and how it just tops out here, levels out, and now this is where Bennett will just want to regroup. He can get a little bit some consistent strokes in over the next 50, 60, 100 meters before he then has to just take that turn once again. And very difficult to take those turns, and you can see they have to let off the wheels in order just to guide that front wheel around. And that's something with his track pedigree, the sort of handling of the chair, Owen Terrell is very, very good at. You can see just the power he's putting through those wheels, stroke after stroke there. And he's just hunting down Davies. Well, it's going to be interesting. He's going to take the inside line around here, or is he going to go wide? Looks like Davies is going to hold the inside, so Terrell's just going to move around her, and now he's off. He's into the last 600 meters, ladies and gentlemen. Owen Terrell dominated this one here today. He's got a bright future. Wouldn't it be great if we saw him in LA in 2028? Well, that's the goal. He's on the Welsh Athletics pathway at the moment. He's off to some warm weather training for the next 2 weeks or so over the Easter holidays. And at the moment, he doesn't look like he needs too much more training the way he is negotiating this. So, it's eyes on the clock a little bit for us. We're coming up to 13 minutes, but he will fly through this last sort of 400 or 500 meters. He really will. It's a slight downhill. Yes, he's got a little bit of tailwind, but they're low to the ground. And he'll get in that aero position, and you can see there's Davies, Bennett in there as well. And ignore that, Terrell is not in fourth. He is, well, that's his race number, apologies anyway, but at the bottom of the list it can be confused. He might be in third place, but he is winning this race, and he's lapping Davies. He's done that. Now he's lapped Bennett on this final turn. So into the finish then for Owen Terrell, the youngster, the Newport Harrier. And Richie Powell will be very, very proud back home watching him as he comes across the border to take the first crown of the day here at the Bristol Track Club 5Ks. Ian Bennett's going to go through with a lap to run. Natasha Davies just slightly further back as well. That gap between her and Bennett continues to grow. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. First winner of the day, Owen Terrell. Congratulations to him and all involved. It does take a team to reach the very, very highest levels of this sport. And that was certainly made clear to me, speaking with his dad, his brother, his coach as well. So well done to him. Here comes Natasha Davies then, getting ready for her final lap. She's going to get down there and hear the bell go. So here goes Natasha Davies. What's this? 14:29, 14:30 with a lap to run. And she's been awfully consistent. In fact, she is starting to pick it up a little bit. First lap, 6:16. Second lap, 6:01. And you know, that indicates, yes, she's getting obviously faster, but I think her handling, she's getting a lot more comfortable taking these turns and negotiating this track and controlling her speed. But she's measured her effort, which, to give a little bit more context as well, shows how well Ian Bennett really is moving, because he's pulled away from Davies, who is still getting quicker herself. Bennett is absolutely flying. So there he is then. Eyes on Bennett. We can see him just behind the fencing. He's getting some great support from the On ambassadors and organisers here on this track. It's a real community event, and it does amazing things for sport in the Southwest. So one final time for Bennett, I'm sure. As he approaches this hill, he rolls his eyes and goes, "What, again?" And as he just needs to dig deep, get the head down. He's pumping the arms through those wheels, focusing on the power, and again, just negotiating that turn at the same time. I tell you, Natasha Davies now, given she is on the flat and Bennett's just negotiating the steepest part of this course. And I'm talking in very, very fine margins, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very minor elevation, but it does make a difference, especially over 5K. And Davies just starting, well, she's holding it at absolute best. She's holding that gap, and that is great to see. And Bennett is giving her something to aim for in the distance. So there we go, just picking things back up. Natasha Davies, Pool AC. Brilliant club in the Southwest, very, very inclusive. Alex Bradshaw, so remember them, Ian Bennett as well, just sort of looks over, and yeah, their coaches, Nathan Blackie, represented Scotland, by the way. And he really has done a fantastic job in building that event. And as soon as clubs like Pool get a bit of a name, start to make a bit of a name for themselves, you're only going to attract more and more athletes, and before you know it, you're an absolute hub and a dominant force in the UK for disability sports. And not only that, you know, some of the athletes they've got running later on, obviously Melissa Courtney-Bryant from that club at Mark Ruby. We're going to get to see him later. Exeter University student, Pool AC man. Over 5K, very, very promising under 20 athlete. Well, more about Bennett and Davies then. As Bennett is going to be approaching, he's going to come under that archway over the top there. He's going to be approaching that final 600 meters to go. And Davies not too far behind either. So we're probably talking about a half mile to go for Davies. And Bennett, I think, is on his way home. So he's into that final 600 meters. So the crowd all just starting to come to town. It's filling up here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. Beautifully sunny day, music, pizza. Tensing supply on the energy drinks. And we must thank On Running for sponsoring this event once again into its third or fourth edition. Started actually 2021, and we have continued to see it grow year after year. Course records over the 5K, Efrem Gidey and Ciara Mageean, those records, more on those as we approach, well, the final quarter mile for Ian Bennett. He's used to competing over 13.1, that's his favourite distance. But today, something a little shorter, something to sharpen the tools and definitely contend with that lactic. Because, like I said, he's been on his own battling as well. He's done well to pull away from Davies. He was steady at the start, but he's got quicker and quicker and quicker as Bennett. And I can say that second lap for him was first lap 6:05, then it was a 5:44. And so that sort of 20-second differential, that was where he was able to pull away from Davies. You compare that to her 6:01, a big 15-16 second margin. So here is Ian Bennett then, the vet, 61 years of age and doing phenomenal things in the chair as he is into the finishing straight. Came round this corner, just came past me, slight puff of the cheeks, but he knows it's almost over and it's all going to be worth it. He's into his final 20, 30 meters or so left. And just look over, Natasha Davies is coming down that hill for the final time as well. She'll have one turn ahead of her. And it looks as though Bennett is just going to cruise in. He's not too fussed about the time. I mentioned they train on a Sunday morning, and I think the race today would have been replacing that, but inside 20 minutes. So good work from him. And here comes Davies, who's going to be just outside. 20 minutes, good marker for these athletes. And there we go, off she goes. And quite a contrast to Bennett. She's going to get every second out of her in this home straight. She's got the wind on her back. You can see her really pumping. This is that competitive track spirit in Davies. So just shy of that 20-minute barrier. And I can say 5:47 Bennett's last lap. So just a touch slower than his previous. And I wonder if Natasha Davies was able to claw and make up some time back. So across the line in Natasha Davies in third place. Congratulations to her. She was the sole female. So she definitely wins that category, just outside 20:42 or something her final time, and 6:08 for that final lap. So both Davies and Bennett peaking a little bit in that middle lap, that second lap. That's where they could really get going, pushing it, and just fading a little bit. It was tough, both of them on their own for a large part of that race. And perhaps in hindsight they'll look back, could they have worked together a little bit more? But maybe that's me being critical. So great to have the introduction of the wheelchair race early on in the afternoon. The next race, ladies and gentlemen, will be 3 p.m. and that will be the under 13 boys and girls, and they will compete over 3K as they prepare for a busy, I have no doubt, a very, very busy track season. And they will kick off the running action for the afternoon. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so's time to introduce that and get things moving along, and then we'll have wave after wave, finishing with those elite women and elite men.
Yeah, I would have done as well, obviously. Awesome, thank you very much. Get them stuff coming in now. What do you think? Yeah. Yeah. Got 2 to 3 meters away.
Don't want to get too carried away.
Yeah.
A&E is needed.
So our next race is going to be the under 13 boys and girls 3K. For our athletes that are taking part in that, there's 2 entrances to the circuit just next to the on-10 here, and then where the ambulance is further down the circuit, you can see there's another gate over there. The 3K start it's actually different to the 5K start. So the 3K start is towards the finish line. So you need to make your way onto the circuit and make your way down towards our ambulance. We also have our presentation for our wheelchair athletes coming up shortly, where we'll present the first 3 in the male and female race along with their on badges. We'll have presentations all throughout the day for all of our races. our next race on the circuit is at 3:30. The street says 3 p.m, but ignore that. It's at 3:30, the U13 race.
By your end in.
3:30. Just a couple of minutes time, we're going to carry out our first presentation of the day. That'll be for our wheelchair athletes that have just taken part in a 5k race on this circuit.
Mine aren't amazing. I think the crew wanted to get the please make your way over to the barrier. We are about to begin this presentation for our wheelchair athletes. We are going to begin with our wheelchair category. In third place, after sustaining a crash very early on in the race, he's travelled all this way. We are going to go in third place to I always think once it's moving around a couple of times, it gives it something more attention to go a bit further forward still.
well done, Alex. Congratulations. Second place in the men's wheelchair race today. Congratulations to Ian Gidey. Hello.
Yes.
And your winner
Yes, I can.
in the men's race today, taking away £500 on voucher. Congratulations to Ian Gidey.
No, there was some issues.
Congratulations, well done to our first three finishers in the men's race. Now in the women's race for the wheelchair riding performance today and taking £500 on voucher and the riding race. Well done, Natasha Davis!
Good.
Today, that makes a lot of time. Now the win will be £500 and it's the course record yesterday. Now he just missed still on. Chasing up Martin. Race as well. We have John Jones, no race organised with 14.55 k runner. Hopefully we'll be alright that place. He'll be taking that out to make sure that the place is hot. She will be challenged by Jess Dillon, Great Route International, and Alex. 8 o'clock, against the other lane. So that race is one for the pool too. We also have a Elite Men's race as well. 156 time, 14-minute clocking today. Course record set by Efrem Gidey. That standard 39.
I lost you. That's the backup one, is it? I think that's
Well, welcome everybody to a glorious odd down cycle circuit here in Bath for the Bristol Track Club 5K. Coincidentally, we do have the Junior 3K up next. I'll be your commentator, Matt, said it throughout the afternoon. We'll finish with those elite races. Innes Fitzgerald headlining that elite women's race. Phil Norman at the Elmy to look forward to in that elite men's race. But first, time to focus on the juniors. You saw the weather conditions. They are optimal, and you know what, even over the last 3 years we've had sunshine every year, but this is perhaps the lightest breeze we've had up here, which is going to be exciting for those races a little bit later on as the wind continues to die down. The under 11s and under 13s, as ever, are on the start line. They have been for the last 10 minutes. They are the most eager here, of course. They're warmed up and ready to go, and they're under Josh Moody's starting instructions. And we look forward to seeing these youngsters attack this 3-kilometer race. It'll be 2 laps of the circuit, everybody. It's 1.5k per lap. And so, yeah, quite simple maths for us here in the commentary box. Lloyd Kempson is trackside. He is getting the crowd engaged, and he is stadium announcing here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. So if you are watching and you're local, then please do come on down. Pizza, and we should shout out the headline sponsors, Tensing, and who are supporting sponsor. Their archway down at the finish line gantry there, and On and Pro Direct Running, the headline sponsors they have been for the last couple of years as this event continues to lift itself every single year. And previously we saw the new edition of that wheelchair 5k race. So then we'll talk prizes. As this, just before this race gets underway, all of these under 13s, under 15s will receive a Pro Direct goodie bag, so well worth them coming down and getting entered. On top of that, the top 3 male and the top 3 female under 13, under 15 runners will receive a On Running voucher up to the value of £150 for first, £100 for second, and £50 for third. So their first taste of, you could argue, professional distance running for these youngsters, as we're moments away from them getting underway. It is a cycle circuit, hence the name. Purpose-built cycle circuit. Back in 2012 it was constructed, 2013 it opened for the first time, that post-Olympic legacy. So often we see people on 2 wheels round here, and I tell you the camera crew will also be on 2 wheels today. Amalia on the bike, part of the organising committee, so we should have some fantastic shots, and that is another investment we've seen this year to the live stream here at the Bristol Track Club 5k. And these shots we've got at the moment gives great context. It's sort of a C-shaped course And this is the home straight. Oh. Could argue home straight, back straight, either one. So it's slight uphill as they come towards the camera and slight downhill as they go away from the camera on that shot that you can see there as they pass the athlete village. So we've got huge contingents from Bristol and Westbury Harriers, Somerset, Chepstow Harriers, saw them warming up as well. Their coach getting them excited, putting them through their paces in warm-up. And I'm sure we will see a mad dash for the start. Will Rochester, all the way from Watford Harriers. So good to see him, of course. Watford, famous for their Wednesday night open meetings. And I'm sure some of these Bristol and West youngsters being inspired by what their senior men are doing at the moment. Perhaps firm favourites for the National Road Relays next week. So away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about that mad dash at the start that we've become accustomed to seeing in these junior races. It's always very, very exciting. Spearheading themselves towards this first bend, and it will just be trying to stay in contact for as long as possible. That's the strategy. It always is. They run with that fearless attitude. And somewhere in their careers, you just want them to keep that attitude for as long as possible, don't you? So then you can see the crowd lining the fence. Great crowd here at the on-down cycle circuit. One of the best we've seen over the last couple of years. Spoke about it, continue to grow. The conditions help, obviously, and they're near perfect. So Cardiff AC in there as well as Westbury Harriers. It is a mix of under 11s and under 13s out on the course. Now I can see it's a Newbury Harrier in there as they filter themselves around. They're going to take this first, what will be their left-hand turn. Our right as they approach that first turn, and they approach the first hill of the day, you could say. So then these athletes looking smooth so far, and we've got a bit of a lead pack then. Berkshire athlete up the front, that's Wolf May, Reading AC. He's had a good winter, he's already got some track races under his belt. As Wolf, 1200 a couple of weeks ago. He leads first female as the Westbury Harrier. He's smooth there, leading that chase pack as well. So once they go through that timing map, we'll be able to get a real idea on who are in these lead packs and who are in the chase pack and co. And I'm sure lots will change over the remaining 3K. And this is just great images. Boys at the Swansea, Cardiff, Newbury, Reading AC. Barfest might be in there as well. And they'll have a tailwind. Just to highlight some of the conditions. Nice tailwind up this section of the course, and then they'll have a little bit of headwind, but on the downhill, so it kind of cancels each other out. They won't mind that too much. There we are, two and a bit minutes into this race. Good to see. Bottom of picture as well. There's all the athletes who are competing today. A little check of the shoulder for the Swansea Harry. He's looking awfully smooth up at the front, stealing a bit of a march. And it's subtle. It's a very, very subtle uphill, but clearly coping with it the best. He gets on after the bike, and we're at that point in the race now where the adrenaline has well and truly left the body. And it's all about how you can just start to cope and settle and find your rhythm. But this thing's really, really stringing out already, testing these athletes up at the front as they continue to track and follow that lead bike. So no longer Wolf May up at the front. They're going to be going through that archway for the first time. So they're 600 or just 800 or so meters into this race. You can see the speed they're operating, and those headshots coming through their camera already. So these under 13 boys absolutely flying at this stage. Just trying to see if those live results will come through on my screen. Unfortunately, not yet. Great to see so many numbers out here, and they continue to break records here at Bristol Track Club. Every year, the number of athletes just rise and rise and rise, especially in these junior races. This is what it's about. Encouraging this lot, you know, once they get a taste of it. I mentioned it's their first taste of that in that professional I guess, competition with prize money at stake, albeit in on vouchers. And Pro Direct Running supporting this. So we've got Moss and Phillips in that chase group, the Newbury Harrier. Munn a little bit further back, McCady, Mays in there as well, Jones of Swansea. So they go past me on this bottom turn, and we'll be coming up to just a lap to run then. So keep an eye on the clock. Hutchins, the Westby Harrier, is at the moment the lead female, but I tell you what, Santos is not far behind her. She's moving very well. And Lancaster's in there, Moore, Phillips, we've got a World City Harrier, 2. A few Gloucester athletes. So look at this thing, we've got a few packs, a few subgroups, and it's pretty much single file around this course at the moment. That's what I can see. And these athletes have just got to stay in contact with one another as much as possible. I spoke about that strong Bristol and West contingent. Destrado, Seavest in there as they go under. Here we are, lap to run then. There's May up at the front, through there in 5:07 or so. So then, into the business end of this under 11, under 13s 3K. Putting them all under the same umbrella really at the moment. It's Ezra Lane doing well, Sam Dilly, Jones, Daly's in there. All these athletes just continuing to attack this course. So those gaps really opening up at the front. It was Jones and Phillips, wasn't it, in that lead group, the Swansea Harriers. It's the first time we're starting to see him suffer. So here we are, Cobbard there. Jones just checking his, and Phillips there. 1, 2, 3. Well, spread out nicely, not getting each other an inch. This is going to come down to a sprint finish. Munn and McDonald, May a little bit further back. So it's Swansea v Cardiff AC. The two arch rivals competing for that first spot in that front group, also competing for that 4th spot in this chase group as well. Both of them moving very well as it continues to change, but the Swansea Harrier is preferring to be up at the front at this stage. He really is, as he's comfortable up there as well. So we'll keep an eye on that leaderboard. Oliver Cobbold up at the front, and Lorenzo Moss, Oshan, Phillips, Zach Mung, Wolf May, Tommy Jones, Hutchins is in there, and we can see not much movement. All of these athletes stay in the same position they were a little bit earlier on. Side 4:59. Do that first lap. And first female is Hutchins at the moment, followed by Santos. Just 4 seconds between them as they went through that lap marker. And these men are really flying. If they break, they could be on course to break 10 minutes here, which is fantastic running for under 13s. It really is. It's pretty strong running for under 15 boys, who we will be seeing next. Tied in for the first time, Cobbold and Moss just start to stretch away. Moss has been on his tail the whole way. He hasn't really given Cobbold an inch. And Cobbold has been the one comfortable in lead. He's been stretching the pace. He would have heard Moss just on his shoulder. And Moss doing all the right things when it comes to racing. I mean, this is an old-fashioned tale, really, isn't it, of these men in distance running. You've got the front runner, the one, the stronger, who just continues to push it on, and you've got the kicker. Or will he come out on top? I mean, history tells us someone in second place going into the final turn on the track in this sort of environment, you would back them to have a sprint finish and come past the person out front who's been cutting the wind all race long. There is a bit of a breeze. So Cobbold and Moss, Swansea, the Newbury Harrier there as well. Phillips, the Cardiff AC man, looks like he's going to have to settle for third here today. But this is great to see as Cobbold of Swansea Harriers continues to just pull away. And you know what? Despite Moss being in a great position to really attack down the home straight, he hasn't been able to live with Cobbold here. Head down for the Swansea Harrier. And he's going to take this race, the first 3K of the day. It's going to be his. You see that bright green archway, he pours it on, and the confidence is flowing, ladies and gentlemen. What a run from Oliver Cobbold, no doubt about the winner, and the gap he's put on Moss there in second over the last 200 metres was emphatic. 9:38, folks. These boys were shifting. As Moss comes across, we're looking out for Phillips now. He's going to be the next athlete we expect to see. And I tell you what, the battle for first in that female race, under 13 girls, you've got Hutchins and Santos just going past me. That is a fantastic battle they're having. And just was 4 seconds on that first lap. I don't think it's moved. It is still 4 seconds. And here we are, the rest of the lads just coming through. There's Zach Munn, Wilf May coming across the line. And that's what 3K will do to you, folks. Absolutely exhausted. So, Hutchins, by the way, much like Cobbold in the men's race, able to find something in the home straight and pull clear even more of Santos in second, who has had a great race and worked her way through the field. A slightly steadier start, but just couldn't get on terms with Eliza Hutchins at any point. And there's Santos, you can see just going across the line there. In the shoes matching the Tensing banner. There's the rest of them. We'll see a battle after battle all afternoon. You can count on that. They sweep themselves around this bottom turn. Great running from all of these under 13s. Under 15s will be in their turn next. Just a mix of clubs in the southwest. Bath AC colours, Southampton as well. And I tell you what, after Santos, it was Lancaster who got that third female spot. He was just another 4 seconds back. And next one, Abigail Moores, just 15 or so seconds back. And Granger and Holland and Phillips coming through in a bit of a cluster in that female race. There we are, there's Chepstow Harriers. Good to identify them. Somerset AC. Great running from those girls. Esther Hames in there, Crab, Somerset athlete, Barnes and Billsley. As the rest of the field continue to stream across the line. Now I mentioned Bristol and West, a club with fantastic depth really in the southwest, and it goes from juniors right the way through, all the way up to the seniors. And there's not many clubs who can say they've done that. A lot of clubs, they might have fantastic junior ranks, but then it really tapers off once you get to a senior. And the same with a lot of clubs who have a fantastic senior presence. Where are the juniors? But Bristol and West, right the way through, from the youngsters all the way to the seniors, continue to represent on the national level. So as they pour through, and here we are for a few of them out there. I did mention the under 11s as well. It's going to feel like a long way. Jones of Brecon AC just passing me, and that's what it's about. Giving Dad a high five out on the courts. Lane is in here. These Chepstow Harriers, the little cluster of them coming into their last 200 metres. So we'll hold fire and wait for them. And the battle is in there, just pushing their bodies, testing the limits at this early age. It really is great to see. And there's all sorts of initiatives. Of course, some of these might even be involved in Junior Park Run on a Sunday morning. Usually about 2K or so. Perhaps some of them have even stepped up to the senior park run with mum and dad over the 5K. So we've got a real battle here for the final few places. We've got 4 athletes, 3 Chepstow Harriers, 1 Bristol and West. Daly's in there in the Bristol and West Fest. Look at this, these 4 coming across the line together. Great camaraderie. Great atmosphere, great crowd lining this finish straight here as well. And 9:38 was the winning time. That's the top right of the picture, as you can see. And these lot coming across, congratulations to them. And they are the final athletes to cross the line in this junior under 11, under 13 Gellerboy 3K. Every single one of them will receive a goodie bag. And the top 3 will receive some prize money as well to go spend at onrunning.com.
Largest arrival to knockdown cycle circuit here at our 2025 Bristol Track Club 5K and 3K. Things are underway. We've had our wheelchair race start things off here.
The next event, ladies and gentlemen, will be the under 15s, boys and girls, and that will be at 4 p.m. As you can see the timetable here, at 4:45 we've got that first 5K, but after that 5:30 the elite women's, and 6 p.m. the elite men's race. So do stick around, we'll check back in with you in around about 10 minutes or so to just introduce those under 15s, and then all eyes on those senior races.
Across the UK, known for their innovation in running technology and athlete-first approach. Big thank you to leading retailer Pro Direct Running as well, who joined us today as one of our sponsors. You head over to the On10, you can try out some of the fastest shoes on the market right now. And thank you to Tenting, who are back at the event with their all-natural energy drinks for our athletes and spectators today. We also have pizza by Pizza Rover. That oven is getting hot, I think it's nearly there. We have music by Tune Trucks and our live stream, which is live right now on the Pro Direct Running YouTube channel with commentary from Matt Seddon. So you cannot miss a beat today, runners. And in a couple of minutes' time, we're going to get our presentation underway for the under 13 boys and girls 3K that has just finished in front of us. Away from our presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please bring yourselves over for the under-13 boys and girls presentation. We will announce our first three in the girls race first, and then we'll receive prizes from on in the form of vouchers. So, third place today in the girls under-13 race. Big round of applause, Betty Lancaster! Come on over, well done. Congratulations, well done. Second place today, big round of applause for Alicia Santos. Well done, Alicia, great run today. And your winner in the under-13 girls race, massive noise, well done, Elizabeth Hutchins. Congratulations to all of our athletes in the under-13 girls race. Smile for all the cameras. Well done to you first three. Congratulations, well done. So up next in our under-13 boys race, in third place, big round of applause, Ocean Phillips. In second place, congratulations to Lorenzo Moss. Lorenzo Moss, well done. Well done, Lorenzo. And your winner in the under-13 boys race, well done to Oliver Cuddill. Well done. Congratulations to our first three finishers, well done. Ladies and gents, one more time, big round of applause for all of our finishers in the under-13 boys and girls 3K. So we have our next race on the way in about 7 minutes time. That'll be the under-15 boys and girls race. They will race over 3K as well. Just over 2 laps off the circuit. If you are taking part in that race, please make your way to the start. It is the opposite end of the cycle track to the 5K start. There are two entrances to our cycle track. One by the event village and the other by the on flag all the way down the other end. strong vouchers for our top 3 finishes in the male and female race.
Well, welcome everybody to the Bristol Track Club 5K here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit in Bath, and overlooking the town. We're just about a mile up from the town, up a sharp, steep uphill to get here, that's for sure. Perched on top of a hill, but beautiful condition. You can see that wind starting to die down throughout the afternoon. It's going to get better and better as we near those elite races. But the under 15s, we just saw the under 11s, under 13s take to the track, 3,000 meters rounded, just over 2 laps it was, and so the under 13s done and dusted. In fact, I think they've just had their presentations as we look ahead to the under 15 boys and girls in the same race. Of course, slightly smaller field. It is just the 1 age group instead of 2 merged in, and Callum Skidmore, Harry Duran, Luca Di Giovanni, man to look out for, City of Portsmouth, Luke Woodhouse, Elliot Hanratty in there as well. And on the women's side, Matilda Robinson, certainly one to watch, of Aldershot Farnham District, had a formidable cross-country campaign, 4th of those English School Championships, what, just a couple of weeks ago now, over in Ardingly and Sussex. And continues to impress on the mud, coached by Mick Woods. So one to watch, just is BB Abernethy as well of Yeovil, that bright orange vest. Nice easy one to spot for the commentator, that's for sure. Bella Thea in here as well. Father James, I'm sure, somewhere around the Odd Down Cycle Circuit today. Fantastic coach and athlete as well. Still athlete, still competes. Does the... So then all 20 or so of these athletes are ready to go. Bryony Boyce is another one I should mention from Cardiff AC, Isabel Forrest, Heidi Woodley in there. A few athletes from Chepstow, Isabella Smith. As these athletes await the starters' orders, it will just be over 2 laps. As mentioned, slightly uphill, just a slight uphill through the first half of the lap, and then quite an aggressive downhill. As away they go, they're about to find that out in a couple hundred meters, and they attack that first turn. And you can see our camera crew on the bike, shots on, and they decided they'd start on the other side of the track as these athletes loop round, purely because of how fast and how aggressive these youngsters get out. And they do, don't they? It's a mad dash to the first corner. And off they go. These under 15s, by the way, will receive, there is prize money on offer, £150 to spend that on running for the winner, £100 for second and 50 for third. It is great to see On Running and ProDirect sponsoring this Bristol Track Club 5K and putting so much into the youth races. It's something they prioritise, and you don't see many, to be honest, young athlete races on the road, on a closed road circuit like this for the juniors. They don't tend to exist. Yes, there's a lot on offer for the seniors, but not so much these juniors. Great time for them to have a little spin out. You've got the road relays, of course, that they'll be attacking over the next few weeks. Well, there we are, that Bristol and West Vest. Thames Valley Harrier in there as well. Bristol West was, one worth identifying. Fantastic club. They have athletes right from the junior level all the way up into the seniors. There's Sparbs in there. These athletes looking smooth. And there it is, also Brentwood Beagles making the trip over. Look out for them. Talk about strong clubs at youth level, always producing some very, very strong athletes at the national level. Skidmore's in here, Duran. Man to look out for, Freddie Wybro, George Turner of Cardiff that was up there in that front group, Ewan Sparry as well. So they're up the hill, and you can see just filtering out a little bit. It's good to see. We'd love to have a little bit of a pack, wouldn't we, moving around this course, working together. So Harry Collins Smith was also in there. Sparry's the man up front. Squire, Buscemi, Gareth, Turner, Di Giovanni. All of these under 15 men just in that front group. It's tightly bunched. Things will start to string out. And they're going to go under what will be the start for the 5K, this archway. And yeah, the lead female, Matilda Robertson, doing a fantastic job. If she can latch on to that front group of boys, that will be truly something. She'll certainly have a few of them to target over this final lap and a half. You can see him taking that turn, hugging the inside. We had official timekeepers and official course measurers here today because there are rumours of European Innes Fitzgerald going for that European record, course record, British record, you name it. She'll be looking to take that down this afternoon. And in order for that to be ratified, we do need a lot more officials present, more timekeepers. We need it professionally measured multiple times. And of course, referees, event referees in there as well. So single file for these men, and the wind is dropping a little bit, but if there is a headwind, it will be on this stretch of the course. And Sperry up at the front seems to be content, seems to be okay with leading things out. But that small headwind that they do have cancels itself out, to be honest with you, with a nice downhill section. So it's Matilda Robertson and Bryony Boyce. Those two are the athletes who were just in picture. Aldershot Farnham District versus Cardiff AC. These lads will loop round. We've got Bath in the mix as well. So we are just forming two groups for the first time, two groups of three really, Sperry, Garrod and Squire. And those three have just gapped the likes of Buscombe, Di Giovanni and Turner in there. So there we are, there's your top six. And just off the back of them is Colin Smith moving well. And this is good to see. This women's battle is going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, Boyce just starting to move now. The Cardiff AC athlete for the first time in this race goes ahead of Robertson of Aldershot Farnham District. But they are really side by side. And they're just behind, a little bit of a gap growing, but just behind these couple of chase groups of these under 15 boys. So keep an eye on the timing. Are we going to see something that suggests 4:36 for just over a lap? We're going to see a sub 9-minute clocking today, which would be incredible running from these lads. They are absolutely shifting out there, and more importantly, further back, so are the likes of Boyce to Robertson. Here we are, there's gives a bit of context to that gap at the moment. So it's Boyce from Cardiff AC who is leading this under 15 girls race. And they've got a lap to go, so Sperry, Squire, Garrett's just dropped back a couple places. Turner, Di Giovanni, Buscemi, Boyce is through there, Matilda Robertson. Those two in the race, by the way, 7th and 8th in the race, obviously 1st and 2nd. I'll tell you what, that third female, Heidi Woodley, is the next to follow through and try and track down the likes of Boyce and Robertson. As we are eyes on this finish line for the time being, seeing a lot of the athletes come through there, fine running from them all. It's the business end now, isn't it? This is where they're really going to have to work, and I feel this hill is really going to put the cat amongst the pigeons. Who's got the strength? To tell you what, Sperry's looking comfortable. Arch rivals, hey, Team Bath AC and Bristol and West, two of them. And it's interesting, it's the Bristol Track Club 5K, located in Bath at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. So out of the two of these men, you presume Ollie Squires had a lot more time on this track than the likes of Ewan Sperry. And then we have the first three females, Boyce, Robertson and Woodley. Those three literally split evenly apart. You're going to see them come around this bottom bend on the picture on your screens at home. There's Boyce just coming through, and you can see behind her Robertson and behind her Woodley and Brentwood Beagles. But focusing up front on these boys. Now that's a definitive gap, I think. It's worth highlighting. But this stretch, I said this hill will test athletes, and it's what you can do on the hill. It's how well you can cope with that fatigue. You have got to save something for the downhill section, because the last 800 meters, half a mile of this race is all downhill, and if you don't have something, you can close up some gaps. You can also make some big gaps on this section, and you can tend to coast, and you can lose some free time, if you like. So Sperry goes round that archway, but focusing back on this under 15 girls race, Bryony Boyce continues to pull away, and not only did she negotiate the bottom part of this course very, very well, she's also negotiated this hilly stretch. Slight tailwind on their back. There's Matilda Robertson. What a season she's had, by the way. Top 10 at some of those national cross-country championships. 800-meter runner on the track, so perhaps 3K is the challenging distance for that cross-country pedigree. Would show otherwise, that's for sure. So Cardiff AC having a good one. Representing Wales as well. Coached by James Thee is Bryony Boyce. And boasts a 4:32 lifetime best, 4:31 lifetime best, and is the Welsh Schools National Cross Country Champion, and probably over the mud, very evenly matched to Matilda Robertson. So it's all about Ewan Sperry up at the front then. Holly Squire is second, and this is the leader in the under-15 girls race, Bryony Boyce. What a run she's had. Now they're on the, if there's going to be an easy section of course, they're on it at the moment. They've got a downhill stretch. They've just got to keep moving, hold the cadence. And I tell you what, I think Sperry is flooding with lactic at the moment as he just negotiates this bend, comes past me, and he's looking a little worse for wear, so he's got to hold it together. You'd expect to see that at the end of a 3,000-meter race. Squire of Team Bath AC, that gap's going to be too much. They're into the final 200 metres. It's going to be Sperry. He dug deep when it counted. He broke Squire on that uphill section, blew him mentally really, and he's going to take this one here today to Bristol and Westman, and one could argue his home meet. And Garrett's in there, he's hanging on in 30, has been for a lot of this race, and he's done a fine job at it. So Ewan Sperry, ladies and gentlemen, Bristol and West, look at the time, 9:02, wow. For a road 3K, that is mightily impressive for these men. Here comes Squire across the line as well, just outside 9:10, and they really set off for the breakneck speed because that first lap was, well, it's just over 2 laps, and first lap was well inside 4:30. So they slowed a little bit on that second lap, you'd expect that. And Bryony Boyce, no doubt about the winner, again, similar to Sperry. Put the pressure on Matilda Robertson up the hill towards that start line gantry for the 5K, past the athlete village, and Matilda Robertson could not get back on terms with her. As she's about to cross the lines, we see some of these lads doing a fine job holding off these under 15 girls, and there is your race winner, moments away from victory at the Bristol Track Club 5K. Bryony Boyce, Cardiff AC. Matilda Robertson caps off a phenomenal winter with a nice run out here and just inside 10 minutes over 3K. Phenomenal for these women. And I think many of these will be looking ahead to the mini marathon. Of course, it's round the corner. There's Woodley. Brentwood Beagle's just sneaking inside the archway there. Fun fact about the Tensing archway, Honor going through a bit of a rebrand at the moment, so didn't have any spare archways available, and so the team headed up north yesterday to go and grab this from their supporting partner at the meet today, Tensing, and what a presence it's had here. So there we go, still athletes out on the course just against themselves, in their own head, looking to better one another. It's Brentwood Beagle athlete as well. All of these athletes, most of them coming into the sprint finish now, coming into that final straight and enjoying. I say enjoying, I'm sure they'll be enjoying it after. They'll be flooded with lactic and pain at this stage, but they'll be enjoying the battle. Often athletes will have a love-hate relationship with the sport, won't we? We can all relate to that. But hopefully for a lot of these athletes, it is all love at this age and this level. Great running from Neith Davies coming across there. Good battle with him. One of the Brentwood Beagle athletes down that final stretch. So this caps off the junior races here at the Bristol Track Club 5K. For the first time ever, we had the wheelchair race early on in the afternoon, under 11, under 13s, and then of course these under 15s, girls and boys, and still many of them. Well, we have a few of the lads sub 10 minutes. Good crop of girls, sub 11 minutes, sub 10 and a half even. And then on top of that, a good breaking that 12-minute barrier as well. So to run you through, perhaps good time to run you through some of those results. It was Sperry who took the win, 9:03 officially. Ollie Squire, 6 seconds back, 9:09. Di Giovanni was in there, Buscemi, Boyce, wow, 5th for her. Matilda Robertson as well. Those two just inside the 10-minute mark. Harry Duran, Woodley, Skidmore, and Ratti, and Avanithi. Lily Sienna Johnson was in there. Just a couple minutes back from race leaders, so fantastic running. And here you are, some of these athletes getting ready for the next race, 4:30. Will be the next race on the circuit. In fact, correction, just double checking that, 4:45 is the next race we'll see on the circuit, and then they will come thick and fast. And I mentioned during that race, we look forward to Innes Fitzgerald, who's going to attack not only her lifetime best, but perhaps a British record, a European record, and coincidentally, that course record, 15:24. Ciara Mageean is very, very close to that unofficial British record of Jess Bailey's 15:25. She ran in November, of course, has not been ratified. So the British record holder is still Innes Fitzgerald from last year in Cardiff. And they're off at 5:30, and then those elite men at 6 o'clock. So we'll be back in around about half an hour or so's time. So we'll check in with you then to enjoy some of the 5K action here at the Bristol Track Club 5K. Good afternoon and welcome all to the Bristol Track Club 5K. Thank you for tuning in. And next up is going to be race 1 of 3 when it comes to these 5,000 meter races around the odd down cycle circuit here in Bath. We've had a couple junior races over 3K. We've had the wheelchair race as well earlier on in the afternoon. And next up, it's all about the 5K, and the races will only get quicker from here on out. Wave 1 will go in 5 minutes time. 4:45, and then from there 5:30 the elite women, followed by the elite men at 6 o'clock. It's all about Innes Fitzgerald. Are the conditions good enough? They were just on your screen. Are they good enough for a European record, perhaps a British record, and at the very least a course record? Not to put the pressure on Innes, I hope she is not watching this before her race and she can enjoy the stream once she's done and dusted. But first up, we focus on this open wave this afternoon. We're going to have somewhat just under 100 or so athletes in it, and all contesting from around about 18 minutes to beyond north of 20 minutes as well. And fantastic conditions. You can see the sun is shining, a little blustery, but actually I've been here for the last few years and I would say conditions are the best they've been. Especially comparing that to last year, there was a very, very strong headwind up the slight uphill section of each lap as well. But this year the wind has also switched direction a little bit, so these athletes will enjoy, I say enjoy, a small headwind on the downhill section of this course, so kind of cancelling it out a little bit with the downhill, and then they'll have a nice tailwind on the uphill section where they can squeeze and work a little bit harder. So for you at home, 3 laps and just over 600 meters. Here's what it is each lap, 1.5 kilometers, there or thereabouts. And we'll be able to identify and go through a lot more of these athletes once this race gets underway. But they are on the screen there for you to look out for. Ex-University, Evie Bradley, and they've got a strong contingent. I was speaking about Innes Fitzgerald. She does go to Exeter University, studies there, alongside Mark Ruby as well, another promising under-20 athlete coming out of Paul AC, also a member of Exeter University. So they've got a really, really strong squad. Great to see so many of them turn out here, alongside other universities as well. Bristol, of course. Ben Westhemery, organiser of the Bristol Track Club 5K, coaches down at Bristol as well, doing a great job, and culture really thriving under his guidance. And so Josh Moody and the team, and Callum Jones, by the way, lead organiser of this event, should be out there warming up, because he has the high pressure role of being the pacer for Innes Fitzgerald in that next race. And so not only is he juggling project manager role, he is also getting ready to pace. So just a couple minutes to go before these athletes get underway, and would be amazing if we saw a sub sort of 18-minute clocking. We may well do, as they wait the starters orders. Like I said, 3-4 laps, 625 meters into the finish. That is all downhill. It is legal though. Talk about some of the timekeepers and officials we've needed here today. In order to ratify any form of a record, you need a referee, you need 3 timekeepers, you need the course to be measured multiple times. And I know the organising committee have almost been scrambling last minute as soon as Innes got in touch and said, you know what, I want to run out and I want to run fast. They had to make sure if any record is run, it is legal. Talking of records, hopefully we see multiple in this race. A lot of PBs on offer. It's PB conditions. It really is. You've just got to pace it right. As I mentioned, with a very, very subtle downhill to start and finish. It does mean that you've got a subtle uphill as well. The course is a bit of a C shape, to be honest, and on some nice open playing field. Plenty of room for athletes to warm up. Tent Village, and it's busy here today. Crowd are lining the fence around this cycle circuit, built in 2012, opened in 2013, that post-Olympic legacy. And often athletes on 2 wheels will train on this circuit, but today it hosts some fast and furious 5,000 meter racing. So here we go. Moody and team on the start line. We await athletes at the ready. They've been held there for a little while. Nerves to be no doubt rising. Beautiful conditions here in Bath. We're a mile north and up of the town centre, and away we go then. Race 1 of 3 in the Bristol Track Club 5K series. Few checking their watch already. Should be completely ignoring that. 10 seconds into the race. Pretty irrelevant, to be honest with you. You'll find your rhythm on this downhill. You do have to allow, like I said, for a slightly faster start than normal as you attack this stretch. Head down to what will be a right-hand turn for them. Down towards where I'm based on this bottom turn, and looking at in a sea of colour, all the southwest clubs being represented here. Bristol and West, Westbury area, Somerset, Poole. You've got Cardiff, some over from Wales, Swansea even, and many, many more for sure as they set off and strive towards a PB as the Easter holidays begin. Pretty much. So a few more to look out for. Josh Hull is in here. Barnaby Dougal, Lucy Hillary, Mike Davies, Colwell, Louise Ashford, and I'm sure things will start to break up a little bit, and then we'll really be able to get an eye on who is up at the front and who to look out for, and of course some of the positional changes that we'll see throughout the race as well. So they're through and they're going to be approaching that finish line archway. And then they have 3 laps to run, and psychologically they can enter a rhythm. Ed is out there on the course, former Bristol University student, now at Oxford University, doing a nice job, doing a bit of pacing in this section. So a few Gloucester athletes right onto him, and trusting him to carry them round at the right pace. As just under 100 or so athletes embark on the course. So first man up at the front, then that's Ben Tasker. And Barnaby Dougal is in there. Olivia Avery was that lead female. And Ruth Brooke as well. So there you are. There you sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 up at the front as they go through that finish line gantry. Look out for your friends, for your family. And be sure to tune in and mention to everyone else. So, and it's worth mentioning as this race really starts to stretch out, that you just seeing it go around that bottom bend, putting in a bit of a surge, getting things moving. And always difficult for race directors to seed athletes. You just never quite know what shape people are in, do you? Despite what they might tell you they're in. You have to look at the facts a little bit as well. But coming into its 6th year, this Bristol Track Club started in May 2021. Very different times. You're only allowed 30 in each race then, and social distancing was still a thing. And well, it was Josh Grace and who won it on that day, 14:12, I believe he ran. So we've got 3 up at the front who are all looking well. It's Tasker, it's Dougal, and it's Lewin. There you men up at the front. 240 is in there as well. So a little bit of change as a few men have sort of surged their way round. City of Portsmouth man, that's Tasker, wants to look out for 250. He's a little bit further back. He's looking smooth, and then we do have a big cluster. Now this is where sort of the real racing and the PBs are going to come from, isn't it? This big pack of athletes as they just make it their way round this bottom bend, and this is the section of the course they'll have to get their head down and focus a little bit. I think what you have to do with this slide uphill is you just have to measure your effort. You can't afford to work too hard on the uphill and coast the downhill, because it's all right for one lap, but by the time you do it the 3rd time around, you're exhausted, you've spiked the heart rate, you've spiked the lactic, and you end up just jogging the downhill and not making the most of it. So they are going to have to just sort of go to effort, run purely to feel at this stage, and then try to put in a very, very similar effort on the way back down. So good running from all of these, very, very tightly bunched at the moment. The course 8 meters wide the whole way round, giving athletes plenty of room to maneuver. There's a couple of Westbury Harriers just passing me, having a good old club battle, club pride on offer. as always is. So Gloucester, Winchester, and that might be Bridgend Colours or perhaps St Albans. Tricky to tell, but Lewin has certainly moved himself up now, as continues to look very, very smooth. As Lewin, as they come back down towards me on the downhill, they'll go past that finish line gantry for what will be there. They'll hear the sound of the bell at that point. They'll go into their third lap. So a lap and a half to run. All these men already, things really breaking up early doors as well, up at the front of the race. It's great to see. So Tasker, Dougal, Lewin, Avery in there, Davies in here too. Poppy Oliver, one of our lead females, Ruth Brooke. Very, very strong contingent of lead females in this race at the moment. So I'll try and get an ID on these three up front, waiting for them to go through the timing mats. Unfortunately, some of them not quite being recognised. The Winchester athlete up at the front, 629. Haven't been able to get an ID on him just yet. 240s in there and 333 as well. So a whole mix, and these men are looking very, very comfortable, I must say. Newport a little bit further back, a little crop of City of Portsmouth men in that chase pack. So it's, I believe it's Meyer. Waterfield in there as well. Griffiths, O'Hara. And I'm just looking to see where those lead women are, and it is the Gloucester athletes, 631, 658, both of those running stride for stride. They would have done many a training session together, shared many a rep as well, and they'll take confidence from having each other's company out here on the course. And purely just for the fact they'll look over to their shoulder, well, if you can do something, I can do it too. And I think that's the power of having a training partner. You kind of know where to judge your effort as well, that little bit more, and how hard you should be going and feeding off one another throughout the race. And they're doing exactly that. And there are two lead females at the moment in this one. So they drift themselves round under the finish gantry, and they've got a lap to run. Or 2 laps to run, apologies. Mine getting far too excited. That's 1.5 laps, 2 laps to run for these athletes, and like I said, we are going to start to see things thin out. We're not quite single file, but we're not too far off, and I think whenever we hit a windy section, this group up at the front though, not that we've got eyes on them just yet, they are sharing the lead quite nicely, the pair of them. And I say the pair of them, it's the Gloucester athlete and the Winchester man, who are just going toe for toe, sharing the lead out a little bit. Looking very, very smooth doing it. So these gentlemen still no change up at the front, and unfortunately not coming through on our results page, which is very, very frustrating. And just because not able to ID who they are, which is a little bit of a shame, but I'm sure by the end of this race I will have that information for you, or at least I sure hope so, as they continue to move things along. A few of the athletes going around, thank you to Marshall. And talking to marshals and officials, they really have done a fantastic job. And like I said, plenty of extra officials getting involved and helping out to ratify these records, ratify the course as well, course length, the timing, a referee, a judge on the day, all of these little extra things that you need to take account for if you're going to have an official record. So these men know every inch of this course pretty well already, and they're going to complete their second lap. And now they know what they're up against. Now you start to be thinking to yourself, well, when am I going to make a move? When am I going to squeeze? And you're just starting to feel, 10 minutes into a 5K, you're starting to identify who around you is struggling. You're picking up on their breathing. Perhaps they don't respond to the hill as well as you, or perhaps the downhill is their strength. Little things like that. And so you've just got to put your racing hats on. And I'm sure these men will be enjoying being in a real race, competing for that top prize, for first across the line. It's a special feeling, and you don't often get to find yourself in these positions. They're few and far between in our sport. Famously, a lot of the elites will even preach, you lose a lot more than you win. So you've got to cherish the wins, and these men will be starting to think about that. And I wonder if anyone's going to make a big move, or are they just, because at the moment, every time they come past me, they're looking awfully relaxed. They really are. And it doesn't look like they're under stress too much. And I think that, they're looking side to side. But I think one of them is going to get a little nervy and want to really push on. That's for sure. So unless these gentlemen have the wrong number, I could say it is Dave Lewin, Ben Tasker and Barnaby Dougal up at the front. And but they may well have the wrong ID on them, the wrong number on them, so do forgive me. But looking very, very smooth as they go round. So now you wouldn't think they're 10, 11 minutes into a 5K at this stage, but it's what the best do, isn't it? They're able to disguise their pain, and I think, talking of those canny games I just mentioned, picking up on each other's breathing, they're starting to do that. They really are. And I think, talking of breathing, they'll want to disguise and give off the fact that they're not too tired to the others around them. So yeah, definitely not Dave Lewin up at the front, so do forgive me for that. These top three, unfortunately, just no way of knowing who they are due to the results system that we've got. And hopefully all will become clear at the end of the race. And we're looking out for those lead females. They are still toe and toe, the two Gloucester athletes. Smooth as ever. Who gets the inside? That's what I want to know. Who's going to share the inside? One of them is running a slightly shorter way around on many of these turns, that's for sure. And just looking to push on. So the leaders now will have a few athletes to look out for and actually look to try and lap, and that will give them something to aim for. And they'll look to their left, their right, our left, and gain a little bit of confidence as they check in with those working their way down the other side. Again, that'll give them a little bit of context to how they're moving. So then what was a group of three is now just a group of two, or just a pair of two, shall I say. And it's the Winchester athlete who's looked the stronger of the three. Little glance at his watch, determined to just push on. I tell you what, the man in second looks very, very comfortable at this stage. He really does. And he's looked good all race long. So in toe for toe, it's 3-3-3, and I do apologise, haven't got a name on him, unfortunately. The result system is just not functioning properly, but it's Winchester up at the front. Definitely looks younger of the two, and he's just cruising by, perhaps friend, family, coach to the left of him, lining the rails there as he continues to look very, very impressive. He's head down. This is the uphill section. This is the tough part. You get to the top, and it's race on, and you can really up the cadence and just move that little bit faster on the downhill section. So that's what he'll be telling himself right now. Just negotiate each turn, and I think you want to break that man in behind before the downhill. It's going to be a mental game, that last 600. Can you just make a bit of a move, bluff a little bit, pretend you've got a little bit more in the tank, and the man in second might not be able to respond. You'll then get a confidence from that. However, it doesn't look to be playing out that way one bit, does it? Oh no, these men are toe for toe, and if anything, Man in second there in the yellow and blue has looked super smooth. He hasn't led an inch, but is this the first time? That's probably the biggest the gap's been between these two over the last lap. We're watching the Bristol Track Club 5K. We're coming into the closing stages of wave 1. We've got the elite women and the elite men to go this afternoon. It's neck and neck. We're given a race here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're enjoying the prospects of a sprint finish as they roll past me. But will we be denied? Is that gap opening up? He's working hard, the Winchester man. A club that has a long history of developing junior athletes into talented seniors as well. They're doing a good job doing it. And he's checking his shoulder. I think he wants that feedback, doesn't he? From coach, mum or dad out on the course. He wants that feedback. What have I got? What's the gap here? He just looks a little more determined at this stage. He is keep glancing at his watch. It's more of a comfort thing. More of a just checking how far have I got to go. Well, he's going to turn this corner now and he's going to see that finish line gantry. I mentioned he'll know every inch of this course. 3.5 laps run. And despite the man in second looking easy, no stress on his face, just starting to tie up perhaps. Just doesn't want it quite as bad, doesn't look to be working quite as hard. I'm sure he is inside. However, no doubt about the winner then. Congratulations to this man. He's going to obliterate the field. In that last 200-300 meters, he had more there at the end of the day, and he's grown in confidence throughout the last 400-500 meters as well. Can he break 16? Not quite. Across the line. He's going to check his shoulder. Dips across it now. 16:05 for a winning time in race 1. Are you kidding me? That is special. Second place coming across as well, 16:13, and the rest of the field, those lap runners, will continue on their journey and strive towards a personal best themselves. Wow. Well, what a race that was. And it's single file out on the course, and it's just about how many, and you take 2 City of Portsmouth men coming through. They've been neck and neck the whole way, those two. 250 moving greatly as well. So the result system is Dave Lewin for the win, and unofficially, I don't think it was. So hold my breath, I'll try and clarify and get these official results over to you in between, obviously, this race finishing and the elite women starting. But for now, we'll continue to watch these finish line shots. Evie's in there, trying to break sub-18, Exeter University student. Dave Newport doing a great job coaching down there as well. Head coach at Western Tempo, who, to be honest, dominate the Southwest when it comes to performances over the sort of 5 and 10K on the roads. Fantastic training group they've got based out of Cheltenham. But yeah, Dave's got a lot of athletes out on the course today from Exeter, I mentioned. And here we go. So you are watching the closing stages of Wave 1. We're at the Bristol Track Club 5K. Next up, we'll have those elite women and those elite men to come. So all to look forward to there. For now, we'll enjoy the pain and suffering of Wave 1. Cross the line, striving for individual greatness. Well, confirmation of the man in second. That was Max Barnett. So Max, I do apologise, but congratulations, 16:11. Well done on a cracking time out there today. So he was the man in second in a very, very good executed race as well. So how many can we get breaking 20 minutes? That's the question. And I'll tell you what, we're not going to be far off. Probably 3/4, perhaps even more of the field at this stage, because a lot of them streaming down this home straight. Head down, battling hard. Crossing that Tenzing gantry, which a fun fact about that gantry, was picked up very, very late last night. Honor going through a rebrand, obviously the headline sponsor here at the Bristol Track Club 5K. And they're going through a rebrand, which meant they didn't have any gantries available. So the team cruised up north, picked up this Tenzing gantry, all natural energy drink. And supporting sponsor and supplier here at the Bristol Track Club. And there we have it. We have a stunning lime green archway for athletes to aim for throughout the 5K. They won't be able to miss it. They'll know exactly where they're finishing. So this race continues to grow year on year. I mentioned kick-started in 2021 post-COVID and has gone from strength to strength, even talking to a few on that organising committee and you know, saying the tech involved now, and this is the first year we've partnered with 24/7 TV for a fantastic live stream to really improve the coverage. So I hope you are all enjoying that at home. So that elite women's race will be next on the track for 5:30. So enjoy the end of this one, and look out for friends and family out there on the course, training partners, even rivals, and then that elite women's race, and what is incorporated wave 2. So there'll be a lot of sub-elite men in there, aiming for around about 16 to 18 minutes in that sort of region. And then of course we'll have those elite men to cap off the evening. Will we see a sub 14? Those are the questions. Phil Norman in town, Abdi Elmi, rumour has it as well. Course record will be targeted, but how well can they be paced? I think they might have to pick up a lot of the workload themselves out here.
Well done. Well done.
on this Sunday afternoon, mate.
Well, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Bristol Track Club 5K here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit, just up the hill from Bath Town Centre. And now it's time for the main event. The Elite Women's 5K is about to take place. You can see them readying themselves in the background under Josh Moody starters orders here, and one athlete in particular we are very, very excited to see. It is her birthday today as well. Inez Fitzgerald, Exeter University student, under the guidance of Gavin and Joe Pavey. What can she do today? Look, the unofficial British record, I say unofficial, Jess Bailey's terrific 15:25 up at Barrowford at podium in November was not ratified, but I'm sure Inez will look at that mark and think, look, because Inez does hold the British record at the moment, 15:30 odd from in Cardiff a year or so ago. And she'll look at that and she'll want to definitely go below that mark. Coincidentally, the course record, folks, is also 15:23. Ciara Mageean, so another mark Inez may want to attack. And that European record of 15:13 is another mark to look out for. And Inez will have that in her sights, we've been told by the Finnish athlete. That was Anne-Marie, set back a few years ago now, but yeah, she'll be looking at that, Inez, and what she can do on the track. I mean, 840, a full indoor campaign, great run at the European Championships, 840 indoors in Ostrava as well, and wasn't able to go out to Nanjing. She was ill, apparently, ill before, so chose to forgo competing in Nanjing at the World Indoor Championships. I think because of that, that's why she's here today. But it was late notice that we found out, to be honest. And I tell you what, the team here have done a terrific job in getting the right officials required in order, if a record does go down, in order for it to be ratified. They need a referee, they need many timekeepers, and many officials, starting officials as well. So they are all present, and they've swept up most of the officials in the country to get them down here last minute, just to make sure that if a record does go down, that it can at least be ratified and Inez can rightly earn herself as one of the best in Europe, if not Britain, if not the fastest to grace this course. So moments away from things getting going. There are other athletes we've been told, unfortunately, a little bit bad news just given. Railway Strikes getting here. Was due to contend the two-time national cross-country champion, of course, won those inter-counties as well. She is not here today. Couldn't get here due to train troubles, and that's a shame, because with a 15:47 lifetime best in the form she's been in over the country, could she have hung with or even challenged the phenomenal under-20, which is Inez Fitzgerald. But she's going to be paced by Callum Jones, race organiser and director here, one of the many responsible for this fantastic event. And he's got a job on his hands, but he is a 14:05 man at his best, so you'd hope he can handle operating in that low 15-minute region. Well, Lloyd Kempson caught up with Inez during the week, and I think, she alluded to the fact if the weather's good, then I'll attempt it. And I wonder what she deems as good enough to attempt these records that we're talking about, because it's beautiful sunshine here. And I've been coming here for the last couple years now, 3 years or so, and actually the winds are at their lightest this year. So it is doable, and where there is a headwind, you're on a downhill section of the course, so perhaps the two cancel each other out. We'll see. A minute until this race gets underway. You can see Josh Moody just letting them all know. There are a few other elite women to look out for. Alex Eckelbosch, one to watch. He used to compete in the NCAA, now a phenomenal marathon runner, operating 2:36. Third at the London Marathon last year. Not in the elite women's race, but that was obviously the domestic championship. She was third. There were just a few elites ahead of her. Not many though, and she'll go in here with a low 16-minute 5K lifetime best. Can she break that today? She's always right around that 16:15 to 16:20 mark, awfully consistent. Lucy Wilkinson, under-20 national cross-country champion, another one to watch. But we hold our breath. Here we go, the elite women, the sub-elite men in this one. Wave 2 of the Bristol Track Club 5K about to get underway. I say about. Back up, been told to relax. So then off they go, second time of asking. The Elite Women 5K at the Bristol Track Club meeting here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit in Bath. Callum Jones in the hat. And those on colours, of course, on headline sponsor for this meet alongside Pro Direct Running. We thank both of those for putting this together, and supporting sponsor Tensing, your all natural energy drinks. So Jones, I think he's probably had one of those straight to the front, and we can identify Inez in behind him straight away. And look at that huge pack. Will be inspired by what they're going to be involved in today, I'm sure, up at the pointy end of this race. So things just settling down, and to remind you then, that under-20 women's European record, 15:13, Anne-Marie Sandel, back in 1996, and it was in Portsmouth, so it was on UK soil, that one, and so she'll have an eye on that. Of course, her and Jess Bailey have a rivalry. Maybe I'm the only one who hypes it up, but you know, both formidable under-20s and both doing crazy things, but we haven't seen a matchup from them yet. Of course, at the European Cross Country Championships, Inez decided to go indoors, and Jess really attacking the roads as well. So Jones leading as we expect out front, and we'll focus on that. Just looking for a few more of those elite women. Lucy Wilkinson was in that pack, as mentioned. Alex Eckelbosch, I can see her there representing Tracksmith now, so being supported by that brand. It's a nice step up for her. Emma Howsham is another one to watch when we're talking about these elite women, and purely she won a Southern title at the Road Relays last weekend. I tell you what, Reading AC you think with Jess Gibbon and Howsham and Mia Waldman could be firm favourites for the National Road Relays next weekend. So through the finish line, actually they've got 3 laps to run from here. Hey gentlemen, you can see, look, all of these athletes coming through in around about 2 minutes or so. And that's 625 meters, so it's 3 laps, and then obviously there's final 625 meters tag on, which is all downhill, but it's legal. Don't panic, it's a very, very subtle downhill, but if you get it right, if you pace yourself enough, you can really capitalize on that downhill section into the finish. I mentioned they'll have a slight headwind, however that won't matter so much. Rumor has it Callum Jones, who's pacing, is going to try and get in as the majority of the way as well. Can he get her to sort of 4K, even the top of the hill, and let her just rumble down it? We'll see. So, 1 kilometre marker. I've got watch in hand to give you some feedback. Boy, it's fast. If that 1K marker is in the right spot, that's very fast indeed. 2:52. I think Jones will check his watch and think, what on earth's going on? But Innes is going to be joined by a pack of men as well, and I wonder if they can help her out. We are going to focus on just Innes and the elite women in this one. Katie Pye in here, again, another fantastic cross-country runner, second at that National Cross-Country Championships, the under-20 age group, and a massive pack just swarming around that bend. However, you can see Jones and the Western Tempo man to his right, and like I said, if he can help out a little bit, it will be great. Great to have a few of these men just potentially shield in us, because we're looking for history today, and we don't want to make it all about times, but quite frankly, there's no one in a league competing today. We thought Jess Gibbon might give her the hardest run, but even she couldn't make it over due to those unfortunate rail strikes. You just can't trust the trains, ladies and gentlemen. So, about to finish up lap 1. And I think Jones just looking to calm things down. That 2:52, potentially a touch slower, but it was inside 3 minutes, and that's a lot closer to, of course, her 3,000 meter lifetime best. But she is in great shape. And I'll tell you something, you know, Gavin Pavey and Joe Pavey, I think, you know, every decision they make is with her future in mind. And, you know, it's easy to say that, but one thing to follow through on some of those decisions. And they have been careful, they have been cautious. And I think at times, even myself, you look, why couldn't have Innes just gone to the World Indoor Championships, for example? But, you know, they were being cautious. She had an illness, didn't want to push her too much. And you know what? When you speak to them, and you know, people associated in that setup, there's still a lot more she can do in training. I mean, for one, you know, this is an athlete, one of the best in the world for her age group, and you know, she hasn't really utilized altitude at all yet, and I'm sure that's something that they'll be considering over the next few years even. So she's still in that lead group, and she's still moving very, very fast. 5 minutes or so into this race. The next time we'll check in with a split, I'll get that 2K split for you. Those watching, you'll probably see the marker yourself out on the course, but this is where she want to be. Jones is now taking it back up, and I think these men will race with one another, and but I think they'll be enjoying the fact the cameras are on them. And moving well, there must be a few PBs in there. We've got a Westbury Harrier, Gloucester, Devon man to Western Tempo, who, you know, Dave Newport heading up that program, based out of Cheltenham, well, and pretty much all over the southwest now, and he's doing a great job. A lot of talent. You see them competing at the National Road Relays as well. So just approaching 2K. Fitzgerald just looking over to her shoulder. I think she'll glance at that 2K mark. I make that a 3:03 kilometers, so I'm glad they've settled a little bit. They're going to need to, and I tell you what, second female in this one is Alex Eckelbosch, running with her training partner Jason Barrett. Those two, a lot of laps at Iffley Road on a Wednesday night, and side by side, and the pair of them looking rather smooth at this stage. They're through 2K in 6:15, so Eckelbosch, that second female, seems to be moving well, and this is just what you want out of a road 5K. A stream of athletes. Of course, cameras focusing on Innes up at the front, but a stream of athletes running in clumps of 3 or 4, 5 abreast. To give you another stat or so, this course 8 meters wide the whole way round, so plenty of room for these athletes to move, overtake one another, sweep round these turns. There's 2 laps to run, then they won't quite hear the cowbells on this one. Next time around, those famous on cowbells will be ringing. And of course, we first saw those at the night at 10Ks. And well, they've stuck and they've become quite famous, haven't they? And here they are over at the Bristol Track Club. So Jones doing a phenomenal job. He steadied the ship a little bit at an important time, and Innes still looking very, very strong. And it's funny, when she comes by me, you could see just the picture of just focus through the face, through the shoulders, purely relaxed as she goes onto the shoulder of Jones. And I think he just says again, just calm it down. We're moving very, very well. If you've got anything left, you can do it in the last kilometre or so. And a few of these men dropping off, it shows how fast it is. And I know Jones, being the race director, he tried to plan it so Innes would take the win here. So here he is, yeah, geeing up the crowd, exactly what he needs to be doing. I think Innes is going to need them the next time she comes around, because it will be all business then, and we will be talking of records just like we have done all streamline. You can just see there in the dark navy and the white sash across the chest is Ecclebosch in 2nd place in that elite women's race. And a little bit further down, I think it might have been Katie Pye in there. It was the AFD athlete. As I said, fantastic cross-country season for her, the European under-18 3,000 metre champion. So even though we had Innes, all eyes on her, under-20 athlete, we have got the next generation in here as well. So Pye, 9:09 3,000 metre lifetime best. So she wouldn't have been far off of that through her 2K split. Anyway, as we approach the 3 kilometre marker, we'll be looking out for where that is on the course. So this is interesting, and you could tell the pace is relentless because the gaps around Innes are growing, and it's Jones and Innes up at the front now, and she seems set to sort of run just on the shoulder of Callum Jones, race organizer. How many race organizers will do this, ladies and gentlemen? Not only put on a fantastic event here, sponsored by On Running and Pro Direct, they'll also get involved themselves and get pacing. An event which started back in 2021. Course records, Ciara Mageean 15:24. Efrem Gidey, we'll talk about that in the men's race, 13:49. Both of those records set in 2023, so a couple years ago now. Last year the winds just weren't playing ball. It's much, much nicer conditions today. Look at that, a pair of silhouettes as they come down this slight downhill section, and she is looking good. Ladies and gentlemen, Innes Fitzgerald is going to take this bend for the penultimate time. She'll see that finish line gantry, and she'll have a lap to run. Controlling her breathing for the first time, perhaps just under stress a little bit. She's making use of the course. And I think this is where the cross-country background, the pedigree is going to come into play. She's an athlete who is so good on the country, and she's used to negotiating hills, downhills, turns. And on a course like this, where you do get a bit of a downhill, you've got to measure your effort, but you've got to keep on it on the downs. Just like on the ups, you have to find that sweet spot where you can just control things a little bit. You don't want to overdo the uphill because it's going to leave you with absolutely nothing on the way down. So massive packs just sweeping round. I tell you what, Katie Pye has closed in on Ecclebosch. There's just about 3 or so seconds between them for second and third there. Of course, good prize money, £500 for the win here. Filtering down into the lower ranks as well, and then on top of that, £500 for the course record. Innes may have that on her mind. So 3.5K just over into this one. What are we, 11, just over 11 minutes on the clock. I'll get that 4 kilometre split. Apologies, the 3K split is out of sight for myself, but Jones doing a great job. I think he's going to be happy with his day's work here himself. 14:05 man at his best. So she's going to need all the support she can. I'm sure Gavin and Joe are watching on, and well, Innes, happy birthday. Can you get the best present of them all, a European record She got a few records last summer. Notably for me, it was that Paula Radcliffe's English Schools record. I mean, to break 9 minutes completely solo, of course, at that rhythm was just staggering. And you sometimes have to remind yourself just how young she still is. So we are on for around about 15 minutes. Look at this, 4K in 12 minutes exactly. That was a 6:04 2K, so she managed to hang in there and run a couple of 3:02s. This is frightening. You think about what that world standard is on the track. She's doing this on a blustery day here in Bath, on a track which is, you know, slightly up, slightly down. It's not flat, to say the least. But boy, Callum Jones there, just switching out to the side, keeping the crowd going. Amalia on the bike also doing a phenomenal job, bringing us those great shots. From the team, I mean the multiple European cross-country champion. 15:26, her lifetime best in this distance. Coincidentally came at the British Championships last year, didn't it, on the track? A very good account of herself there, and that's one of the few 5Ks she's done. When she caught up with Lloyd Kempson earlier in the week, did a fantastic interview around her goals for this race. You know, one of them was she just wants to get used to the distance a little bit more, because despite her success over 3,000, actually hasn't done too many 5,000s, but also the roads. She's not that used to running on the road. She's either on the cross or on the track. Much more familiar territories for her. So perhaps, you know, Gavin and Joe thinking a little longer term, she will be wanting to compete on the roads a little bit more regularly. And, well, it has a placehold, doesn't it, in every athlete's calendar, especially in between seasons like we've got here. Whoa, and it's Fitzgerald then. She comes down, she's well into her last, well, 600 meters. That was up at the start country. I'd say she's got about 400 meters to run now, and with 13:44. 15 minutes, of course, is 72, so she's right around there at the moment. And I tell you, I wonder how long Callum Jones is going to stay in there and drag her through. This is phenomenal pace, and he's done a great job. That first kilometre was blisteringly fast, 2:52 and change, and then managed to steady the ship to a couple of 3:03s, 3:04 kilometres. And now it's Innes against the clock. Are we going to see a sub 15? I'd say she's got about 250, 300 meters to go, so it's going to be awfully tight. We are definitely going to see a course record. I think we're definitely going to see a British record, that's for sure. She goes around the last turn here, but will we see a European record of 15:13? And then we start to talk about that sub 15, that magical mark. It's a barrier, isn't it, for most? And she's putting out a statement here, Innes Fitzgerald. The athlete based in the Southwest, studying next to university. What hasn't she accomplished already in this youthful career? Jones, the director of this meet, has done a fantastic job in pacing her. He's going to let her take this one. But Innes Fitzgerald, there's no doubt about the winner. She's going to obliterate the course record, and she's going to smash the European record, ladies and gentlemen, inside that 15:13, 15:07. Wow, that was truly something. All eyes on second place now, and we'll celebrate that result a lot more into the future. I'm sure we will. Congratulations to her and the team. And it is, I believe, Katie Pye who has just overtaken Echo-Bosch. Katie Pye, the youngster. So from one fantastic youngster in Innes Fitzgerald to another, as Pye, the European under-18 3,000 meter champion from 2024, is hammering down this finishing straight, and we'll keep an eye on the clock for her. She hasn't done too many 5Ks in her career, understandably so, and I think she's going to be just outside 16, perhaps 16:20, something in that region. As they'll have the wind on their backs as well, and you can see she's just in that group. I mean, that is crazy. 16:10 or so for Katie Pye, unofficially, of course, just going pure off my eyesight at this stage. And we continue to try and identify a few more coming through the line. Hey, young Westby Harrier there. What a run from them. Just missed them going through. under that brightly coloured tensing archway. But look at that, well done, Innes. That was special. And when you try and put these runs into context, you know, where does that rank in comparison to, you know, the Europeans finalists there, or an 840 in a Strava, that record at English schools last year, the multiple European cross-country titles she's got, the youth titles. I mean, that 15:09. I mean, in 2023, Ciara Mageean went on to run well under 4 minutes and had one of the seasons of her life, and you know, she ran 15:24 that year. And in very similar conditions and paced as well like this. So to see a 15:09 from Fitzgerald is incredible. But of course, you know, the rivalry between her and Bailey continues. Bailey running that blisteringly fast 5K on the track. So we look forward to the matchup between those two. And hey, when will it come? Will we have to wait till the British Championships? Will it come before then? Time will tell, but wave 2 then just coming to an end as the last few runners crossing the line, stopping their watches, battling hard out there for just under 18 minutes. And well, Callum done a great job actually. He said he seeded this anywhere between 16 minutes and between sort of 18:30, that sort of region. And it looks like we're going to get everyone inside that mark. There's the task for a few still out on the course. So, ladies and gentlemen, from one course record, European record, and national record, and will we see another? I'm not sure we're going to get a European record. A national record would be hard as well. Sam Atkins 13:16, and the European record being well sub 13 minutes. Gressier. But you know, I think a course record might be under threat. 13:49. It's doable. The likes of Phil Norman, Abdi Elmi in here, and a few more. So that will go down at that men's race, elite men's race, coming in just 10 minutes or so's time. So we'll have a short break and we'll see you back here in 5 minutes for those elite men. Take a breath, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Innes's birthday today. How embarrassing. So we all know what to do. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Innes. Happy birthday to you. Thanks, Callum. Thanks, Innes. Guys, now we're on to the final wave in the elite men. We should be a corker. Course record is 13:49 by Efrem Gidey, so we'll see how close they get to that.
Let's see what the master had. Yeah, we're going to be cool here. Yeah, we're going with that. We're fairly close. Yeah, that's what we do, guys. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're done. Oh, yeah, you need to start. Oh, thanks. My second or third is this big phone took one time. You've got an arm. You can take a photo of that.
So you're used to thinking about all the ways round, or not?
At least the first one. Yeah.
We will. Yeah.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And I'm sure many of you have just witnessed the incredible Ines Fitzgerald. 15:08 officially on the clock. That's the official time. And I tell you what, Katie Pye, a minute or so back, but still, despite that, 16:11 for her, the under 17. So congratulations there, the Aldershot Farnham District athlete. So both of the youngsters just absolutely smashing it. Freya Bradley, another under 20, 16:26, the Westbury Harrier. Great run from her. So all bodes well. And for these elite men, they'll look at those times and believe, you know what, actually we can run fast into here today. Very, very fast indeed. The conditions so often quite blustery up here, but today, beautiful. The sun is shining, as you'll see. We've got a light wind, but the thing is, usually when I've been here in the past, the last few years, the wind has been against on the uphill section, which kind of made that bit double as hard. However, the wind, where there is a slight headwind, it's against you on the downhill, which means it kind of cancels out, the downhill cancels out that headwind for a lot of these athletes. And look, I think that was what was so special about Inez's run. She had Callum Jones facing her the whole way as well. But boy, did she work hard for that. And yeah, many will just look at elites and assume it comes easy to them, but I can tell you that much, just sort of a K or two in, she was working very, very hard and was able to cope with that fatigue and push her body to a place many of us could only dream, to achieve that European record and national record to go with it. National under 20 record, of course, and European under 20 record, just to clarify. So enough about Ines and more on these elite men. Phil Norman, Tokyo Olympian, steeplechase lifetime best of 8:18.6. It was just agonizingly close last year. I mean, in my opinion, he should have been in Paris, and but we know what British athletic selection policies are like, and yep, unfortunately did not qualify. Got the championship record at those British champs last year. What a race that was. Captured many hearts on the track as well. Dav Jones, a fast rising Welsh star and under 23 international as well. Has great closing speed. Demonstrated that at the Bucks 10,000 meter championships last year, picking up a medal there. Now Blake Moore is a man to look out for as well. Ran a 65 half marathon not too long ago at Reading. On top of that, he has run a 3:41, 3:42 lifetime best over the 1500. So kind of has it all. That's speed and endurance. And then a bit of an unknown quantity, Abdi Elmi. Is he on the start line? Just seeing if I can ID him. And just because, I mean, that man will certainly be going for a course record. Just about sneaked sub 14 minutes at Battersea 5K on the New Year's Eve edition. But I haven't seen him here. And I know he has had some injury problems since that New Year's Eve 5K. Has Abdi Elmi. So, well, Jones, despite pacing Innes, is back in this one and looking to pace the elite men's field here. And a couple of youngsters to look out for, which more on them once we get going, as these athletes toe the line. Final race of the evening here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. So away we go, the elite men. Can they follow in the footsteps of Ines Fitzgerald? Course record 13:49, perhaps the only record achievable today. And do you know what? One thing I haven't done is look to those under 17 record books, because Alex Lennon in here, the three-peat national champion, swept up the English schools, the inter-counties and the national cross-country championships. And what a character that young man is. And what can he produce over 5K? And there is Abdi Elmi. There he is. I do apologise. He's in this one. And he's going to be right on the heels of the pacemaker. He likes an aggressive start. Good to see him actually using the pacemakers, just being a bit more cautious. And the times we've seen him run, he has just gone out like a bat out of hell. He really has. So he was reeled in that New Year's Eve 5K at Battersea Park by the likes of Tamir Tarragano and Tom Keane. Two of Britain's best distance runners currently as well. So there we go. Blake Moore sits in second. Dav Jones looking comfortable. There's Alex Lennon just negotiating that turn. I mentioned, you know, Inez's cross-country ability probably being a bit of a factor on this course, knowing how to judge her effort on the up and the down and sweeping around these turns. And I think Lennon, that will count for him as well. Ricky Harvey is another man in here, strong 1500 meter runner. A lifetime best just over the 14-minute mark. He'll be looking to feature in this elite men's race as well. And didn't get an ID on him early, but Mark Ruby, talk about Exeter University, it's been a good day for them, and I know there's a big squad here cheering him on, just like they would have been cheering Enezan. She mentioned one of her motivations was to operate with her friends at the same meet, and same for Phil Norman. He really wants to support these local races. We've been wanting to run this event for a few years now, has Phil, but with injury and illness and just preparations for those track seasons, it just hasn't quite clicked. But the world's being a little bit later. He's here and he's fit, and this is kind of his first test of 2025, and we haven't seen him yet. I'm saying that he did compete at the Southern Road Relays just a couple weeks back, sorry, goodness. So Dave Miners is pacing up at the front. He's a 3:41 man at his best, so should have enough alongside Callum to get these men well through that opening K. Now what's this? Through that K, 2:43 and change. I mean, it's frighteningly fast for these men. We saw that with this. That downhill start just lends itself to a very, very aggressive early pace. Lennon, the youngster, just bustling alongside Dan Brooklyn, who 3:42, 1580 man. Lots of low 3:40 men in this field. Massive chase pack sweeping themselves round. So you can see Jones there. He's in the bright yellow, just to identify him a little bit, wearing that New Balance strip. And Norman in the glasses, in the shades. Dan Brooklyn, mentioned him. Abdiel, and Peter LeGrace is a man to look out for, Bristol and West. Owen Smith as well, 14:20 lifetime best. So these men just operating all together. Joe English, and worth giving him a little shout out, race organizer Ben West Henry, coaching him at Bristol University. He comes into this in good form, looking for a sub 14:30 as well. So just finishing up that first lap here at the Bristol Track Club 5K on the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. We're about a mile up the road from Bath Town Centre. I see up the road up a steep hill as well. We're perched on a fantastic viewpoint at this fantastic track, 8 meters wide the whole way around, plenty of room, and look, this is elite 5,000 meter running. Look at this, just men strung out all over the circuit, and it's exactly what you want when you sign up for a race like this. You want depth, you want pedigree, and you definitely need company the whole 4,990 meters or so. That's how you're going to get your best performance out of you. So things just starting to break up a little bit further down. We're starting to see a few of these smaller packs form. Jones and Miners up at the front. Still Daft Jones in that leading pack. Phil Norman. Ricky Harvey in there. Blake Moore, mention him. Second in that Reading half marathon just last week, in fact. So comes into this in great shape. Robinson's up there. He's the man in second at the moment, looking very, very smooth. Alex Lennon still in that pack. So we've got probably, I'm looking at about 20, 25 guys there who are all in contact, and that will break itself up. Just getting an idea on this 2K. That was make that about a 250 kilometer for these men. So they've just slowed it down a touch, 251. In contrast to that first kilometer. So just again, Jones doing what he managed to do in that first race, just steadying the ship a little bit. I couldn't believe it when he came past me. He said, I'm going to help these men out for as long as possible. He is having a very, very good day's work. But like I said, he is a 14:05 man at his best. So the next split we'll get for you is that 4 kilometer mark, and I suspect by then this race will be pretty broken up indeed. So Robinson, that's Ben Robinson, by the way. Bristol and West AC, that's the club he's attached to, and he's doing well. You could argue punching above his weight. He's certainly operating well inside PB tempo. Lifetime best is just outside 14:20. He's going to look to break that mark. But well, with that first fast early kilometre to start, we did settle a little bit, so I think we are around about that 14:10 sort of tempo, which, to be honest, is what we want. We want to race over that last lap or two, don't we? We really do. I think we're going to get that. It's where are people going to move? They're going to start to feel each other out. So Elmi just slotting himself in behind Jones. Harvey, Phil Norman's there. Alex Lennon's just hanging on to that chase pack. He's doing his best at the moment. And the two Windsor men, Dan Brooklyn, Blake Moore, train with each other in that Bracknell Forest area. Quite a few Windsor athletes actually. Sam Hodgson's just seen him a little bit further back. Well, mine is peels off, and to be honest, at this stage, I'm most surprised by the way Jones is managing to hold this together for coming up for 3 kilometres in this men's race, and I'm sure he'll be thinking, if I can just pull off to one side now and let them race it out over this last lap, you presume things will settle. It might even be a little cagey. This is interesting because Elmi is one who enjoys a fast pace, but he is coming back from injury. We haven't seen him for a few months. What's he got in the locker? Coached by Idris Hamoud now, who many of you will know, who also coaches the Mohammed brothers. Mohammed preparing for that London Marathon in 2 weeks' time. It is well and truly road season. We've got the national road 12-stage road relays next week, and talking to Bristol and Bristol Track Club, you look at that senior men's team, and can they be beaten? They're certainly going to be the favourites. A great image here of these sweeping turns as the sun setting up here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. As we'll check back in with these men. Like I said, the next bit I'll give you be that 4K. And they sweep round his top turn. There we are. Callum's off now. It's a race on our hands. Elmi, that's Harvey, and that's Dav Jones. Phil Norman, always got a fast finish in him. Was moving well pre-Christmas, and he's back now. I think had to negotiate a little bit of illness over that sort of festive period, and obviously he's a father as well and works full-time. Like a lot of these men in this field, actually, they're all working full-time. And then you've got Lennon, the student, still studying in secondary school. So Ricky Harvey on the shoulder of Abdi Elmi. Daff Jones, Robinson's in there, Norman. And just a little bit further back, just breaking off, is Dan Brooklyn. Looking for Blake Moore. I think he may have dropped out. Gillett's there as well, the Western Tempo. Man, he's holding his own in a rather strong group. So Lennon's going to have a few men to try and pick off. He's a racer. There's the three-time national cross-country champion. I say national cross-country, inter-counties, English schools, and the national cross all in 1 year. And we'll keep an eye on what sort of rhythm he is operating at. Right, a lap to go. For context, a lap is 1,500 metres there or thereabouts. I think it's getting cagey. Elmi's looking at one side. He's just checking his shoulder. Dav Jones is in there. He can finish fast. We haven't seen much of Jones this year, nor Ricky Harvey for that matter. Both of those athletes really coming into their own in this springtime. I know they've both got grand plans for the summer. So for these chase pack, that's a good pack, isn't it, going through there, 10:20, and you expect they're going to be close to that sort of just over 4 minutes, 4:15, 4:20 mark over that last lap. So they're going to be operating in that 14:40-ish tempo. Mark Ruby, I've tried to ID him. I haven't seen him in there. just yet. Might be a little bit further back, but Dylan Gillett of Western Tempo, the 25-year-old, 14:20, a lifetime best. But well, can he hang in this group for as long as possible? He's just lost contact. Right, we've got a group of 4 now, the heavy hitters. Daph Jones looking to stretch things out up at the front. Norman, Harvey and Abdi Elmi for the first time looking challenged. And I did mention, if he's not pushing the pace from gun to tape, perhaps he's not quite 100%, and I think it's showing. It's showing here now as Daph Jones is going to squeeze up this hill. The Swansea Harrier, 5:47 for that previous 2K. So that is around, well, just over 14-minute tempo, isn't it, really? But they're moving well. We're going to see some PBs further back. Leonard's hanging in there as well on the hills of Brooklyn. But Daph Jones, 13:49, a PB very, very similar to that of Phil Norman's. He ran that last year at that Tony Pandy Classic. This is his season opener, the GB International. James Thie will be watching on. Some silverware at the Bucks 10,000, and here's Phil Norman in looking to just push things. He had a great finish last year at those British Championships over the 3,000 meter steeplechase, and he's getting ready for another year over the barriers. He was debating whether to exit from the sport. He's already had a period where he put the sport on pause anyway, never thought he'd make a comeback, made a very, very successful comeback, and I think post not being selected for the Olympics, he debated whether checking out again. So it's great to see him back for another year, looking to give it another crack and just enjoying the sport for what it is, and that's racing. Ladies and gentlemen, Daph Jones there on the inside. He's going to have that inside line round this bend. He's going to want to hold that round to the final bend as well, but Phil Norman, the man from the Southwest, proudly said he wanted to support these kind of events. He's used to traveling 3 or 4 hours north of where he's based just to find a race, so he enjoys a little bit of a local battle here with the Welshman Jones. Elmi just hanging in there for 3rd, is it? Him and Ricky Harvey have got a good battle, haven't they, for 3rd and 4th. There's prize money on the line. Who's going to finish the faster out of the 2? So 13 in change on the clock. We've got about a minute left of running just inside. We're going to see a low 14 minutes. We won't see a course record, that's for sure. Efrem Gidey was halfway down to finish straight in 2023. So then, one turn to right. It's Phil Norman out front. Daph Jones just tying up a touch. Checks his shoulder. Elmi's on the other shoulder. Cruises around that bend. Harvey doing battle in 4th. Can he get on the podium and take home some prize money? No one's going to get near Norman here. Slight headwind to contend with, checking his shoulder. And this is a good, strong finish from him against a top domestic field. He'll take a bit of confidence from this into the summer months, and as he opens up his outdoor season, is he going to break 14? It's going to be close on the line. Phil Norman, the Woodford Green and Essex Lady athlete, takes the win here. 14:04 unofficially. Elmi rallies. Good finish from him. Jones in 3rd. And Harvey's going to take 4th in a very, very credible 14 in 12 or 13 there. And we'll keep an eye on this. Gillett and Robinson. Ooh, both of those very, very close to a PB. They managed to hang on with that front group as long as possible. Alex Leonard, the under 17, breaks 14:30. Wow. As many more streak down this home stretch then, and we start to talk about that 15-minute barrier. A lot of these will have that in their sights. Spoke about it being a barrier for Innes Fitzgerald. It's also a barrier for a lot of top domestic men. The Team Bath athletes doing battle. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much all for tuning in. What a fantastic afternoon into the evening it's been here at the Odd Down Cycle Circuit. The weather has been glorious, and we hope we get some more of this over the next few weeks and into a summer season as well. Phil Norman with the win, Abdi Elmi in 2nd, Daph Jones in 3rd. And hey, stick around, watch your training partners, rivals maybe, friends and family, get across this line and complete their 5K here at the Bristol Track Club. Supported by Tensing on running, and of course Pro Direct running. And on running continue to the sponsor of this event year after year, the innovative running brand leading the market and putting athletes first, aren't they? Really prioritizing athlete performance is at the forefront of everything they do and believe in. And so great to have them here at this track. We continue to see the last few just braking, dipping inside that 16. Oh, awfully close. Perhaps sub 16 on the chip time. So there we go, just a few more to come across, and like I said, what a fantastic afternoon, evening it's been. The weather's been glorious, a lot of picnics and a lot of fun, had a lot of PBs run as well. And Bristol Track Club continues to deliver one of the most competitive 5Ks on and down the country, and it comes at a sweet time just before that track season and everyone starts lapping up the oval. They get to lap this 1.5 kilometer circuit. And so we'll leave this finish line shot on for the last few, but I believe that is every single runner across the line in 2025. So we will see you back in 2026, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, Matt Seddon, take care and have a fantastic Easter holidays.